Ready enough.
Recording in progress.
Ready enough. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, a show where we unbox topics related to movies, TV, games, whatever. And I'm Jordan. With me is Luke. Luke, how are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Right.
Hello, everyone.
We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it, guys. We talked a big game last week and how we're going to talk about things we're excited about in 2022, movies, games coming out, but, you know, best laid plans of mice and men.
That ravioli bake, man, we are going to dive deep on it.
The hell?
What I ate tonight.
Oh, yeah, totally. You had ravioli.
Ravioli bake.
So how'd you do that?
Well, Bethany does it.
How did she do it?
But so she mixes up the sauce. She puts the sour cream in the sauce and then all the cheeses and melts all that together to make it's like spaghetti sauce basically, but then you put what did I just say? Cream cheese. You put like the Italian mix and then you make a sauce. Then you boil your ravioli the way you usually would, but then you put it in a pan, pour your sauce over, and then you put a nice layer of cheese on there and you bake it for like 20 minutes or something.
It's like cheese ravioli?
Yeah, it's just like a bake. It's like cheese. Well, she actually made two of them tonight because she's nuts. And she made me the Italian sausage one, and she made herself just the regular cheese one because I didn't like a lot of meats. So
No.
yeah, I'm a meat man. So
You're a meaty man.
just give me all the meats.
Oh boy, Luke. I'm just ready to talk about all the big news, but we'll get there. We got to go through all the bull before we before we wind up there. Maybe I'll put because maybe people are like, oh my gosh, just want to hear them talk about the big news. Just shut up. I'll put a time code in the description below if you can't handle it.
I thought it was the ravioli bake, but
I'm sorry, Luke. I don't like meat in my ravioli. I like to get straight to the cheese. Oh boy, you doing good? We've been chilling here, literally.
Doing good.
I'm glad.
Working
Luke.
hard, having fun, working on projects like I always do. Doing good.
Working at home and doing the schedule or whatever that I have going on. It's kind of last week. I just had Friday to myself. It was crazy. I got up and I did something really crazy. I went to the mall, Luke. Imagine that. The mall.
We were just at the mall the other day.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's what it means to live free. Just go to the mall.
The mall is the quintessential definition of being free.
I realized, I went there and I go to the couple places that I usually go, but then I realized I stopped and I was like, I don't know what's on this side of the mall anymore. And so I didn't have any reason to go. I'm just going to walk over here just to kind of see. And there was a VR
towards Macy's.
Place, towards with the corpse of Macy's.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right.
Dillard's, right? I think it's Dillard's now.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I guess it is.
I think Dillard's opened 2 stores, which I still do not understand. They have 2 full size stores, department stores. They got money, I guess.
How do you even make that choice? You're in the mall and you're like, well, which Dillard's am I going to go to? The one on the side or that one?
One's probably just all women's, and then the other one's all the other stuff.
Wow, large and in charge.
Ladies have a lot of clothes and accessories and all the special stuff they have.
Well, I think I went in front of Dillard's, but I didn't make it inside, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. The mall's still there. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what we've been watching / playing / listening to. Luke, we've been listening to.
I had one of these songs surface that I ended up really enjoying. By this guy Patrick Droney, I think that's how you say it, Droney, Droney. Patrick Droney. Yeah, his stuff is really good. One of the songs where it's cut off, so I can't actually see what the full title of the song is.
Oh, I see.
Always Been the End of the World. I had to expand the window.
Yeah. I had to expand the window. Is that what's in parentheses?
That's the album. Had to expand the window.
That would be
no.
That sounds
not at all
like a something corporate album or something. It's
It does.
leaving
It
through the
does.
window.
Yeah. So Always Been the End of the World. Really good, but yeah, I think this is somebody that you're gonna like a lot of his stuff. He kind of has that like, we talked about it before. It's like it's country, but it's a little different. It's like maybe like rural sound to his voice, if that makes sense. Like it's not the same as like Nashville country, but it's definitely an out of the city sound,
like Pete Yorn.
Voice. Yeah, but more country. If Pete Yorn had more of a twang to his voice,
like maybe Rustin Kelly. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We had talked about it before with
him. It's on the verge, but it's not. There's something that makes country. It's
not. Yeah, it's not quite like I'm on my tractor, my dog's here with me. Just
you
truck
think
broke down, wife left me.
You
all that
think
stuff.
You're making fun of it, but like at my old job, there'd be people be like, "No, you gotta listen to this. You love this country artist. You'll love it." And they go, I'll listen to it. I'll listen to it. And then it's like, this is fine. I just don't like this genre. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's obviously talented, not for me. But it's like all those lyrics. Yeah. It's not like a cliche. It's a thing.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with stuff we listen to. It's just constantly like, she left me.
Yeah.
I need love in my life.
I mean,
I get it. I mean, I hear it when I'm listening to these songs. I'm like, I hear this whining.
Right.
But I love it.
But
I love it. Keep whining.
I feel like also with country, there's like the obligatory things you have to mention. Like you have to mention like the green grass in the field. You have to mention your favorite alcohol beverage. You have to mention like your truck or whatever southern state you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are things you have to name drop or else like you get kicked out of the club, I suppose. I don't know. Anyways, Patrick Droney.
Yeah.
I got him. I got you. I like his mustache.
He's a good man. He's got a nice little solo in there too that I like.
A little solo?
He tears it up there with the guitar for a second. There's something I just love about a song that has like an interlude, after like the second time through the chorus, and there's like a and like just like
John Mayer.
Just a second to like tear it up. Just love that.
Just a second. Nothing more.
A second's worth of tearing it up. Shredding some faces, melting faces, shredding them. I don't know. What do you do to faces?
I don't know. I think you butter them up, right? Is that it?
Butter them up.
Butter in the face. Oh,
I think that means something entirely different.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so what I got, sometimes I just don't have anything for this. And so I'm putting the miscellaneous things here. It's not quite something I normally do with watching / playing. So here it is. This is a YouTube video. I mean, I guess I could have put it in watching, but
I've talked about YouTube before.
I kind of had it in there as like something I watched. I watched a lot of it on Friday, actually, on my day off. Like I just throughout my day, like, oh, I'm cooking, I'll put it on. Oh, I'm laying down for a bit, I'll put it on. Because this is a long video. This is a long YouTube video. Like, holy crap. But I'm going to recommend it because it's really good. It's from a YouTube channel called Billiam. I can't really recommend the channel because this is the only video I've watched. But what this is, it's a video titled "Lost Was Weird, a show no one wanted to make."
That's right up Jordan's alley.
Right. All this is a video about the making of the show. It's talking about the first season. Apparently he's going to do one for every season, but that's crazy to me because this obviously took a lot of work, a lot of research, and a lot of editing to do, and it's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
But it's great. Like
That's nuts.
This guy's got some really good insight. Does he
have like behind the scenes like shots and stuff?
He's got some behind the scenes stuff. A lot of the stuff that he does is he's digs really deep into like interviews and what people say about like how the show was going, how like Damon Lindelof was kind of all of a sudden like Throne lost because JJ was like, all right, here we go, Damon, we're setting it up. Oh shoot, I'm being called to do
an interview with him talking about that.
Right. And he compiles a lot of stuff, and not just through the beginning, but kind of throughout the first season. He really does a good job.
First project too.
Right.
Like that was his first real chance. I mean, he had done other stuff, but this was like when he actually had a budget.
And here's the biggest show right now. And so I really recommend it if you're a Lost fan, especially, of course. But
how nervous would you be, man? That would be crazy. It's
dude,
it's like being like a really good like college baseball player, and you've never had a chance to play in the major leagues. And it's like, okay, it's game 7. Here we go.
He was obviously just
oh my gosh,
stressed to the max. I mean, he ended up he like
so cool.
Hired on his mentor Carlton Cuse to help him write, and ended up being with him the entire series. It's great. It's really great.
Sometimes that's what it takes, like sometimes a leader just needs to be the person that knows who to hire to get the job done. Like that can be all you need. I mean, honestly, that's what Steve Jobs was to Apple. He was just somebody who collected talent and had a vision. He himself was no engineer. He was just a visionary. And, Damon Lindelof, I'd say that's what he was for that show.
Absolutely, man. And
really cool.
Really great stuff. And that I'll check it out, at least a little bit of it, maybe here and there, go back to it every now and then. Because this guy's obviously a really big fan of the show and loves it, but he's not ridiculous where he's just like.
How was he connected to it?
The guy who made the video? He's not. He's just okay. He just loves the show, and he was like, it's like his YouTube channel's weird. It's just literally a lot of video essays on random crap that he likes. But I don't know. He's not so evergreen about it to where he can't be like, oh, they could have done this better, or this is a character thing. Yeah. But this is how. Look at this moment. This is how good the writing is, and how good the character work is, and he'll like point things out like that. It's great. And so I'm looking forward to him diving into the second season, which apparently he was like, I pretty much already have it finished. He's, the funny thing is with YouTubers, it's like you get into this thing where there's these YouTube personalities, and it's like it's like a cliche thing for them to like have some segment of how stressed they are, because it's like they obviously do it for like maybe partially a living, if not for a living, but. Right. They have they don't have to be professional, and they don't have nearly as much help as I guess network.
There's no one there telling them how to do it.
Right.
Just do it however you want.
Exactly. And I have this self-imposed schedule that I have.
Yeah. but those are the ones that do the best, really.
Right.
The ones who are able to self-manage. That's the hard part about YouTube,
Mm-hmm. And he obviously poured his heart and soul into this, and it paid off. It's a very popular video. It's got like 1 million views, which is pretty good for a video like that. That's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lost fans, check it out. Luke, what have you been watching / playing?
Just a few things, not too much. We watched The Wedding Singer last night.
Nice.
This is one I think I actually talked about a while back. If you haven't seen this movie, like, what are you doing? Like,
what you doing?
You just have to see this movie. It's one of those ones, to me. It's just the classic of classics. It's evergreen. You always have a good time when you come back to this thing. And I don't know. Adam Sandler has so many good movies, so it's hard for me to sit here and say it's his best movie, but it's got to be one of the best. I think it just depends on who you are. For Bethany, this is her favorite, and she loves Adam Sandler, so it's a lot to say that this is her favorite. But Billy Madison, she absolutely loves Billy Madison, so that's like right up there with it. Happy Gilmore is amazing. I mean, there's just so many great ones. Adam Sandler, he made such a different movie when he was younger than he makes now, and it's not to say that they're not good. Like, what's the one with all the dads coming back to their like hometown?
Grown Ups.
Yeah, like I think those are two excellent movies. The first one, probably was a little better than the second one, but I'd say they're both really good. So, it's not that he can't make a good movie now, but but there was something else about stuff like Big Daddy. I think that was kind of towards the end of like his run of like really good movies. But
yeah, I think most people say Little
made so
Nicky.
many
That
good
was
ones.
it. That was when it started going down.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just The Wedding Singer is going off of Netflix at the end of January. So if you feel like watching it again, or God forbid you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. Yeah, it's so good. Drew Barrymore. I mean, she is just such a good female lead in these like rom-coms. It's just some people have it, man. We were talking about your, fellow musician in the praise and worship band that you're leading, and like some people, it's like they don't even have to warm up. It's just like they just
You're
have
so
it.
good.
You just see it. It's like, and Drew Barrymore, I think, even I think she have like a TV show or something. I saw her. She's doing something now during the daytime. But
she's
even
on
now,
Netflix
like she
show.
just has such a warm personality. Like you want to watch whatever she's talking about, and she's especially good as a rom-com person because she just connects so well. I think she connects well with the men, and she connects with the women. And
Let's see if I can find this real quick.
Props to Drew Barrymore.
Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Let's see here.
Jordan is searching through his Blu-rays for something.
Wedding. Yeah, here it is.
Looking for the Blu-ray.
All right, so here I have, for whatever reason, a triple pack of Drew Barrymore features. First of all, Wedding Singer. I actually haven't seen this one in the middle yet. I
think I've seen those last two.
I have not seen
The Distance and Music and Lyrics. Everyone.
Wow, there's a lot of people there. Music and Lyrics is a good one. I think, Hugh Grant and Drew Barrymore.
I've heard of them.
So much charm.
I haven't seen them.
But I've never seen Going the Distance. A lot of people in that. I should probably see that one. But yeah, Drew Barrymore. She is really good.
I'm sure my wife would enjoy that. Yeah, I was just looking up Going the Distance. Apparently there's several movies called Going the Distance. Justin Long thing, 2010.
Jason Sudeikis, Charlie Day, Christina Applegate. Goodness gracious.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people.
Ron Livingston.
Wow.
Huh. Yeah, there's Jim Gaffigan.
Jeez Louise.
Oh, yeah. Rob Riggle.
Yeah, I got to check that one out.
Goodness. Leighton Meester from Gossip Girl. See,
I haven't actually looked at that. I knew I liked Wedding Singer and Music and Lyrics, but I didn't even like really look at this middle one. I'm like, oh yeah, there are a lot of freaky people in this one. Okay, yeah, the Music and Lyrics, that's a huge Hugh Grant one. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Hugh Grant. You can tell. I mean, you look through her career and she's just been in so many rom-coms. So many. Obviously she's been cast to her strength, and she's definitely strong in that form. So enough about that. Watch The Wedding Singer. The other thing I just wanted to mention, we kind of been talking about it last week, was how, it's so frustrating. These consoles, they come with these 1 terabyte hard drives, and you can upgrade them like you did recently. And surgery, you mean, right? Yeah. But it's like, I mean, it's certainly cool that you can put these expanse, hard drives, whether it's the memory card for the Xbox or the, actually opening up and putting it in. It's so cool that you can do that, but you still run out of room. Yeah. And I have 4 gigs, and I think I have like 300, or I have 4 terabytes. And I have like 4 gigs, 300 gigs left. Got 2 indie games on there. Yeah, exactly. So that being said, I did not realize. I knew it was evolving. It was getting pushed out. But Xbox Cloud Gaming is officially out there. And I don't know. I should have looked this up beforehand. I don't know if it's only for Game Pass Ultimate subscribers or not. But it is out there. It is in the wild. And I can tell you from experience, it works really, really good. Luke, it's funny you brought that up. I could not tell the difference between my downloaded games and the 2 games that I streamed. Yeah. I say it's funny you brought that up. I tried it for the first time today on my PC, actually. On my freaking PC. Nice. I tried it out. That's why my controller is actually so cool, because you don't have to like have this crazy PC. You can just, I should actually see if I can get it to work on the Mac. Yeah. It'd be interesting, because this is a 2015 Mac. So if it can work on this, it can work on friggin' anything, because I'm pretty sure my phone is probably twice as fast as this laptop. I'm with you. It looks great. Like streaming, and I was like, this is miles better than what I've experienced with streaming games on PlayStation now. Like miles better. Like just how fluid it is and how it does feel seamless. It does feel like, okay, this is I'm supposed to do this. You know, it didn't feel like I'm jailbreaking.
I mean, if you were to sit there and nitpick, like, you know, maybe the resolution's a little bit lower and maybe there's a slight lag, but honestly, I really didn't notice it. I was playing this game Wreckfest, which is like a demo derby game, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it didn't hold me back in any way at all.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it wasn't 4K HDR, but it looked really good. Like if it wasn't like as good as it normally was, like I said, it wasn't noticeable enough to change my experience. And to me, that's all that matters. Like, for the ability for me to just go through the list of games and just play a game without having to download or delete another game, you know, spend my time waiting on it to download. And then it's just, I mean, it's a game changer. You know, no pun intended, but it's a game changer. It really is. And there's more and more games, it seems like, are going to this. And I think the only reason there's probably not all the games on it is, well, I guess one would be if the publisher doesn't want them for some reason to be on there, which you know, in my mind, I can't think of any reason why they wouldn't want that, but maybe they have some kind of say. But the only other reason I can imagine is silicone shortage. So they can only allocate so many, you know, cloud versions of the Series X for people who want to play this. You know, another thing, as I'm saying that, like, this could be a cool way for you maybe to be able to play those better versions on your S, you know, through the cloud. I don't know. Yeah, you could compare, but it would be interesting to see how, you know, being able to play on the S on the cloud gaming version of something like, you know, this, I don't know if this will ever come to Game Pass, probably not, but like Cyberpunk. If Cyberpunk, the, you know, the next resolution version came out, you know, I don't know.
I'll give it a shot. I'll let you know. I tried it on my PC, so it's like a 1080p monitor, and I'm sitting like right here, so like I can definitely tell the resolution difference. But on the Series S, when I'm playing on my big 4K TV, that I'm gonna try that out. See, well, I'm like, what is this like streaming off a Series S, but from Series X? That's an interesting concept. I'll have to give that a shot tonight. I'll let you know next week, of course.
So that was all I had. I had just played Wreckfest and I had played some DayZ. And oh, so cool to not have to worry about, oh, I'm gonna have to delete a game. I'm gonna have to get it some update. It's like, that's another thing. Like, updates are constant and incredibly annoying. And there's nothing worse than coming home to play a game, especially with your friends or something. They're waiting on you, and all of a sudden you have a 20 gig update that you have to wait on. And there's nothing worse.
It was pretty magical to play on my PC and be like, all right, I'll stream, you know, Yakuza Like a Dragon. And it was like, hey, we know you, here's your save data, on you go. It was just fluid. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's insane. So cool.
Absolutely. Couple things. I watched Scream.
Okay.
2022 version.
Oh, these names.
Right?
Ugh.
Ridiculous.
We've talked about this before. It's just doesn't make any sense. Like, have some kind of differentiation.
After 4, maybe after 3, they start getting embarrassed and they don't want to have numbers anymore because they don't want to know how many there are, and they just
it'd be almost as confusing if you named your console like the Xbox One. Like, you know, that'd be crazy if you did something like that. It's like, wait, is it the first Xbox or is it the Xbox One? That'd be nuts if you did something like that.
Yeah, it's just, you know, naming conventions. Yikes. But
yeah, or God of War. I mean, something crazy.
God of War.
Name both your games God of War.
There's so many games, oh my God, that do that. It's crazy.
I mean, I guess Apple's the worst culprit when every iPhone is called the iPhone.
True enough.
I guess they added it, but yeah. Or how about the MacBook? I guess that's a good example. It's never anything else, just the MacBook. Sorry, continue.
It's okay, Luke. So Scream 5, the 5th one in the series.
Yeah. Much better.
Yeah, you know, I've seen a lot of these movies. I wouldn't call myself a fan of the Scream series, but
You're a lingerer.
I'm a lingerer. I'm a distant admirer. Like, I watch them. I know I like them. I'm gonna watch the next one, but I'm not like counting down the days. I don't like study them or whatever, but I enjoy them. You know, I feel like there's something quaint but enjoyable and entertaining about them, to where I'm just like, you know, I they're such something so easy to watch in a way. But I don't know. Scream 5, here we are. It's another Scream movie. It really is. And for me, that's not a bad thing. I think it's funny, like looking at horror or thriller or whatever you want to call these, mysteries, whatever. I think Scream, in my opinion, just as far as how I perceive them, I think people will disagree, but as far as how I perceive them, it's one of the most consistent ones. Like, I don't think it's the best because, you know, I think they're consistently good. Like, I think they're consistently good. You know, it's like they all have fun, quirky characters, and they all have fun jokes and interesting tweaks on the formula. They're like, tweak the formula a little bit. So where like this one, you'll be like, ooh, that normally doesn't happen in these movies. And so like it's little things here and there. But as far as just, it's kind of, that's why it's hard to talk about this movie. I don't have anything crazy to say. It is just another Scream movie in a way. It just kind of continues, you know, I think, you know, there's a few things that annoy me a little bit, and they've been around for all of them. All the Scream movies do this thing where it's like you're expecting the killer to pop up or whatever, right? And they'll do this thing where like the person's, you know, I'm watching this person because I know the killer's gonna pop up, or else I wouldn't watch this person heat up a microwave dinner, right? They do that thing, but they'll do the thing where it's like, we know that you know all the camera tricks and all the things that we do to mask the killer popping up. So anytime he'll open the fridge and you're like, you know the trick, he's gonna close the fridge and he's gonna be they're like, nope, not us. And they'll like play the music to like kind of fiddle around with you. I don't know, it got a little annoying. They like, you do it one or two times, I'm like, okay, yeah. But then like constantly, because these movies are so meta, right? Have you seen any of these movies?
It's been a while, but yeah, I think I've seen the first 3, but it's like you said, it's been a while.
In like 4 and 5, they really go into it in 4 and 5 with the whole like commentary, because all of them are in ways like commentary on horror, right? Like they even make fun of the fact that with the, you know, the fact that, oh, this one doesn't have a number or whatever. They make fun of that in the movie. Like they're very much that sort of thing. So it's like entertaining on that level too. Way to do it. It is, but like it doesn't annoy me that much in this movie because it doesn't factor into like the plot as much. But it's, I don't know. These movies are supposed to be kind of fun, and they are fun. So and this one was no different. I enjoyed it. If you're a fan of them explicitly, if you're not, this one's not going to be like, oh man, this is the one where they really up the ante. No, there's just more Scream. It's either going to do more of the things you like in Scream or less of them, but it'll be around the same level of quality. Those actors look great. Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox. And a
long time.
Yeah, they look really good. I'm like, you guys hold up as far as your appearance is concerned. It's not like you see them in so many of these movies where they come back and you're like, oh no. Nope, they still look like movie stars. I beat a video game. I beat Tales of Arise.
Nice.
Yeah. This one was a big one.
Things.
Yeah, this one was a big one for me this year. It's just, it's really giving. Like, it's always one of those things when I play a JRPG or an RPG in general, and I'm like, wow, this game just gives you a lot as far as what you want out of an RPG. Like, it just, like, the story just goes and goes and goes. But for me, it's like, okay, just it keeps upping the ante and taking characters to new heights and stuff, to where I'm like, yeah, this is great. Like, I feel like I do, and the combat is fantastic, by the way. It's really, really good. It's really similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake, how it's more action oriented, but it weaves in like these RPG elements in ways which I'm like, it keeps the action going, but it adds a lot of strategery to the whole thing, to where I'm like, I still feel like I'm having to use my mind, and I'm just not hacking and slashing, but I'm having to be like, okay, I should do this move, and I should use that person, I should tell that person to do that thing, you know, but still feeling like I'm like, you know, going all over the place and beating up enemies. Couple things though, it's funny because like I played the demo of it, and like they run the gamut when it comes to how they tell their storytelling. They have all these different methods. They'll have like anime cutscenes, pre-rendered cutscenes, in-engine cutscenes, these like little skits they do, which are like almost like motion comics. Then they'll have like text. So they have all these different ways of telling their story, which is funny, but a few of them they use way more than others. Like I feel like very rarely you'll see an anime cutscene, and very rarely you'll see like the story told through like just text. There's a lot of voice acting, and this is your nightmare, Luke. This game is your nightmare. It really is, because there's not a lot of like going around and talking to people, like, but as you're going through the story, it's time to stop and chat. Like you can, good news is you can just put down the controller and just kind of enjoy it and just like listen and watch it go, you know, but you don't have to like,
that does sound like my nightmare.
It's your nightmare. They discuss everything. They discuss everything. And like,
it's too much. It's too much.
A lot of times, like there's a lot of speeches in the game where like, it's good, you know, like, you know, you can really get what it's about. It's really simple. It's about it's slavery and, you know, like building peace with the ones who enslaved you and trying to find a way forward without violence, and it's good stuff, but man, do they discuss it and discuss it and discuss it. And there's so many times I'm like, we've talked about this already. But that being said, most of it is very well done and very good. And for a game like this, that's a lot of that JRPG melodrama. It's cool that they, you know, talk about something, you know, it's nothing crazy or super deep, but I appreciated it. Good game, great game, and a lot of options does it give you. It gives you so many options as far as how you play the game and the combat, because you could switch between all these characters and adjust your moves in a certain way, and you could switch mid-battle. It's very giving with how do you want to play, how do you want to fight. And you can be the long range person, you can be the mage, you can be the swordsman, you can be the brawler, and you could switch mid battle or not. It's really cool. Anyways, that's it. Took me about 50 hours, basically doing some side stuff and, you know, all the main stuff. So long game, but it kept me going throughout. I don't know what to play next, man. There's so many games. Do you ever get this?
Was that on Switch?
No, it was on PS5. It's on PS5 and I mean PlayStation and Xbox. No, the Switch cannot do this game. There's no way. The game's pretty like, it's not like
big boy graphics.
It's big boy graphics. It's not the best looking game you've ever seen, but it looks really good, and so it runs really fast. There's a lot of crap going on. I need to look at it. When there's battles,
okay, we talked about this before. I do remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what to play next, man. Have a few things like just downloaded that I've started. I've been playing some old games on Xbox, and I got some new stuff loaded up on I don't know. It's like I've got the Mass Effect trilogy loaded up, and I'm just staring at it.
Did you ever finish Psychonauts 2?
No, that's what I should do. I'm like maybe a third of the way through it. I got a good deal into it, so I need to finish that. I hate that. I hate when I leave a game and I'm like, what? I was really enjoying it. Why did I stop?
Yeah. Did you ever play Resident Evil Village?
No, I did not. I'm kind of just waiting on it.
Too much for you?
No, I wouldn't say too much. I'm just too much money, maybe. I mean, not that it's expensive. You can get pretty cheap now these days. I'm like waiting for dirt cheap. I don't know why. I'm waiting. Like there's these tiers
it's too
of
scary
games.
For me.
Maybe. I don't know. It might be too scary for me. I honestly, maybe even like that last one, but 7 may have been too scary for me. Cause like I like had music going throughout it. I
This
was like,
person on Google, it says, is Resident Evil Village scary? In comparison to past titles of the legendary horror series, Resident Evil Village lacks a critical element. It isn't very scary.
oh, okay.
That doesn't say the game isn't without its scares. Yeah.
I'll try it out. I'm a lot less scared of a mansion like in a castle than I am with like hillbilly zombies in a like in the like south in a rundown shack. Like that whole atmosphere scared me. Like almost a Texas Chainsaw kind of vibe to it. That scares me. But
yeah,
I'm not really afraid of vampires or werewolves that much. So we'll see.
I think they need to do some work on you. Get that fear in you.
Need to get me. Yeah.
I mean, there's always a Mass Effect Legendary. It's now on Game Pass, so
right.
You did want to get into that at some point.
Right. It's daunting, but I gotta do it. I just
Seems
gotta.
like you should at least play the first one, even if you don't get to the other two.
No, I do it all.
Okay.
Not an option. I gotta do it.
And you never played Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Oh yeah, I am in the middle of that one. I forgot.
Oh.
I'm in the middle of it, so I can't. The thing
Tell
is,
me what you think.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think when it's over with. It's probably not too long. The hard thing is like, thing when your spouse plays games too. If you're playing the same game at the same time, and it's a game like this, you kind of gotta wait until the other person's gone, because if you go beyond where they reached, you're like spoiling the game for them, and so I'm waiting a little bit because Amber's she's fasting games for like until the end of this week, and so I'm like beyond where she's at, so maybe Friday on my day off I'll jump into it. Anywho, cool. You ready? You ready, buddy?
Sure.
Breaking news. What is this? Just now. Oh my gosh, what is this? No. This happened this morning, where the holy crap moment in the gaming news happened. In case you've been living under a rock or whatever and don't know, Microsoft has purchased Activision Blizzard.
Indeed. Along with King.
Right. This is a lot of stuff. A lot more than some might realize. Like Amber, like I told her, she's like, okay. And I was like, and this too. And she's like,
that's what everyone's reacted so far. I mean, granted, a lot of people I've talked to aren't really gamers, so I mean, I kind of understand.
Right.
I've had to put it in terms of like things that they would understand. I'm like, imagine Target buying Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close.
It's pretty close. I mean,
just because of the sheer volume of money that Activision and Blizzard combined bring in with their, free to play like Warzone and their subscription like World of Warcraft. And then honestly, King, like I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but that is so much freaking money.
It's a lot of money.
Bethany's been playing Candy Crush for over 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, that game has staying power like no other game has.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is one of the biggest things they're buying, is just an incredible amount of money. Like in these, streams, these different ways they're making money. It's just, I don't know.
Right. The only thing I could imagine that would be bigger than what they've done is if they said we bought Nintendo or something like that.
2K. 2K is the last company that I'd say is bigger than Activision.
Oh, really? I didn't know that they were. That's crazy.
Oh my God, 2K. Well, they own Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oof.
Talk about a money printing machine. I mean,
yeah.
To me, that's the only one that might be bigger. I mean, I don't know. Activision may be bigger. I'd have to see the numbers, but 2K has a lot. I think it's Take-Two Games owns 2K, and they own Rockstar. Yeah, I think it's Take-Two is their name.
$68.7 billion. I looked it up
call
before
it 70,
this.
Right?
Yeah, call it 70. I mean, what's a couple $1 billion between, right?
It's $1,000 million.
It's like I looked it up. I was curious about this. because we talked about this a long time ago. I don't know if this was on the podcast. It may have been, but that is more than what Disney spent on Star Wars, Marvel, and Fox.
Every time you look at these deals, it's crazy because, I mean, think about back to like Minecraft. Isn't that like 1 billion or something?
Like
something like that.
Measly compared to like what we are looking at now. Even
Minecraft was huge then too, so it was a really big deal at the time. But it's crazy. The purchase prices just keep going up, and everything in life has just gotten so expensive, including apparently buying whole companies. It's not just our steaks and our chickens at the grocery store. It's also the Activisions of the world are also going up in price.
You're saying that's inflation is
it's the exact same thing.
Same thing.
Exactly the same thing. You shop for these companies the same way you go to Publix and buy some chicken.
Well, I don't know. I was gonna say something stupid, but yeah, I mean, it's funny looking back and being like, wow, the whole Bethesda deal is mind blowing. And it still is really big, but it seems so quaint now compared to this.
I don't know, man. The thing with, I mean, I do agree, but there's a really talented team that they bought when they bought, Todd Howard and all his designers and writers. Those people, I think, are top notch when it comes to games. Like, they're one of the few teams, and there's some like, and I would say PlayStation owns several of them. Santa Monica Studios, I think, is up there, but Todd Howard, I would say they can rival like that Japanese game like development that has just been legendary throughout game. The stuff that Sega used to make and the stuff that Nintendo is making now. Like, to me, that's right up there with the gold standard. But I think Todd Howard is one of the few that can like make a game that is intriguing enough and well designed enough to appeal to an incredibly massive audience and have this replayability, but also have this incredible linear, campaign, whatever you want to call it, story that you get to go through. And
right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean,
for that one reason, I would say that is still a huge deal. And I'm not sure that Activision Blizzard has that in this deal. That would be the one thing, like,
as far as that.
And I love these Call of Duty games, but I'm just saying I don't know that there's like a leader like Todd Howard and his right hand men and women who help him make these games. I don't know that there's still. I think there used to be at Blizzard, but I don't know if there is anymore, especially with all the trouble there's been. I think there could be a lot of talent that's been scared away in the last year or so with all these ridiculous allegations that have been going around that just are despicable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that sentiment too. I mean, like Bethesda, they're worth more to me, for me specifically, like, and a lot of other people who are like us. I mean, really, and just love the art of game making and these games. But like, yeah, it's crazy how like, even though like Activision and Blizzard like have been on the decline for sure, especially the scandal certainly doesn't help, but still with their like Call of Duty at the top of the MPD for both consoles consistently.
Overwatch. I mean, there's a lot of potential with the franchise like that.
Yeah, there's sequels still in the making. It's holy crap.
And of course, World of Warcraft. I mean, nothing even needs to be said about that. I mean, everyone in the freaking world knows the name of that game. That's right there. That right there tells you something. Like, it's the most popular MMO ever created. It's nuts.
Right. And Diablo, and then like we have the ones that like are beside the fact, but also it's like crazy. They own Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
They own Spyro the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
They own Tony Hawk,
which I really think of as a PlayStation game. Spyro is like so synonymous with PlayStation for me.
Yeah, Spyro and Crash.
Because I just played it all the time on PlayStation, but
right, it's one of those things that's become third party, but it would be like if Nintendo bought Sega. How weird would it be to be like, oh no, Sonic is now a Nintendo character? Where, yeah, it used to be what.
And that I feel like could happen.
Yeah, that it's in the realm of possibility.
And these other companies may be pushed into doing this just out of sheer like fear that they're gonna, lose opportunity.
There's a lot to unpack with this, and that's definitely one of them. Like, what does that mean for the industry as far as that is concerned? And is that a good thing? Is it like just about let's buy up all the third parties until there's no such thing as a third party and there's just a bunch of which exclusives do you have? It's obviously we still got ways to go. There's a lot of big ones. Bethesda and Activision are big ones, but what's left? We got Sega, Capcom, Square, and as you said, 2K, and there's still and Ubisoft and EA. There's still a lot to go around for sure still, but this is a big chunk of it, I feel.
Oh yeah.
This is a really big chunk.
Yeah, and I'm encouraged because I think there's a lot of good teams there that were making Call of Duty, and obviously it's one of my favorite games. It's the game right now that I definitely play the most. Warzone, I think I've talked about it a little bit before, but every time I go back in there, I realize like this is the game I always wanted to play. And I love the Halos, and I love the Duke Nukems and the Dooms and the Quakes, and there's so many shooters I've played over the years, and I love those games. I will continue to play those games, but nothing has come close to what they gave me back in 2019 when they gave me Modern Warfare, and then Warzone came out, which was basically an extension of the 2019's Modern Warfare, which is another one of those confusing things when there's a 2009 Modern Warfare or whatever.
Of course.
It's great. What have we come to? But anyways, it's just like it's the game that I've always wanted to play. Being able to jump in, have this huge arena where you battle it out with other people. It's just absolutely incredible, and it's got great replayability. So for that reason, like I'm so stoked. It's like my two favorite games, Halo and Call of Duty, are now under one roof. So it's really awesome. And I want to think that Blizzard can come back to where they used to be, because they used to be like just the pinnacle of game development. They were coming out with just some amazing stuff, and it just felt like there was such a fall from grace in the last 10 years or so. And I don't know. I want all these companies that we grew up with to, find their feet again and be able to make the legendary games that, we grew up that kind of defined what video games were for us. And Blizzard was definitely a part of that when I was younger.
Oh yeah. I mean, they were a dynasty, and, and the hope is that, there's a lot of mixed language and a lot of things going on. It's still so early, and it's hard to know exactly how things will play out. But I know what's being reported is that they will, once the deal is done, they will report to Phil Spencer. And like, it seems that maybe Bobby Kotick, who's
he's going to be stepping down. I've already seen that.
Will be stepping down once the deal is done. And so that brings a lot of hope with it that the company will be moved to a different direction. So I think regardless of what this means for anything else, I think this is obviously a great thing for Activision Blizzard for sure.
It'll be interesting that the fact that the whole, I guess it's the whole Activision. I don't know if it's Activision Blizzard, it's everyone, but a large chunk of the company is trying to move to, being unionized. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out now that they're under the Microsoft roof. Whether maybe their needs will be met and they won't need to create a union, or maybe that will continue. I don't know. You're being swallowed by a whale at this point. Right. So,
what do you even do?
It's hard. There may be 20,000 people. I have no idea how big these teams are, but I imagine they're pretty big. They're creating games that take a lot of people to create. So I don't know. Maybe that's too high. Maybe 10,000 people. It's a lot of employees, but they're all coming under another company that probably hires 100,000 people maybe at Microsoft. I mean, between all their different entities all over the world and all their offices and all their, business partner, outreaches and all that stuff. Like it's a huge company. So you're really, you're taking the small group who's had all these complaints, and it's been a huge thing, huge explosion. Now you're putting them in with all these other people, and Yeah, I don't know how that works. I've never been a part of something like that.
Yeah, who knows?
But it'll be interesting to see how needs get met, and what kind of articles come out if they're. I can imagine people who all of a sudden are being bought by Xbox, and they're in the middle of all this debacle with their CEO now. They're probably going to be, a little on edge when they move into their new digs, and we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will work out in the end, but it'll be interesting to see how basically the cookie crumbles with all this.
That's, I'm hearing a lot of hope, even from like insiders who work there. A lot of people who are like hopeful for this and like have good feelings going into it, but who knows? Yeah, who knows how it's going to shake up in the end? It's hard to say, but like, what something I was thinking about as you were saying how like, man, Halo, Call of Duty under the same roof. It's like thinking about this, it's like Microsoft, they have this thing here with Game Pass where it's like, I think this is what they want. I do think they see the future of gaming as subscription based. I really do. I mean, that's why all their first party
they're going to make it happen, apparently.
Right. I'm like thinking of like,
whether you agree with them or not.
There's a certain sect of gamers, if they have Game Pass, like a lot of people are like, okay, I like sports games, I like driving games, and I like first person shooters, and I like Western RPGs. Those people
EA now, you got Activision.
Those people will never have to buy a game basically at this point. Yeah. I mean, there might be maybe they'll buy one game a year for like every now and then, the one big thing that isn't on any of the subscription services that they can't deny. But for the most part, man,
for the price of $120 a year.
Right. Very much not. I mean, no, Game Pass is the undeniable deal in gaming, like 100%. It's undeniable, and it's becoming to the point where it's almost like it's not even that anymore. It's just like they're almost making it to where exactly what you said. They're making it to where it is going to be that, and I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. And it's like I don't know where it's going to go. If like I'm wondering what they have their eyes on, like moving forward. I mean, I can't imagine they are thinking one company at a time. I can only imagine they have like a 10-year plan where they're like, we have our eyes on these companies. And I'm wondering, like, if they had it their way, how many companies would they buy? Like if they had.
I wonder if Activision actually approached Microsoft. I could see them doing that. I could see Bobby Kotick feeling all this pressure from the media and feeling it from his employees to unionize, where he says, like, my back's up against the wall. I want a golden parachute. I'm not going to get it unless I, have some kind of deal that I work out here. And so he said, Xbox, they've got a massive wallet. They've been on the hunt. So, hey, what's up?
What's up? What's up, Phil?
Looking for something? Because we got something here.
I haven't considered that. I think that's
I could see Phil saying, absolutely. We'd love to get another, huge edge on PlayStation, whereas, we've been getting our lunch eaten for too many years.
This is a huge one. This is a huge edge. I think, Bethesda was big, but I think this is crazy. There are so many PlayStation fans who are also huge, like Call of Duty fans or
Overwatch
fans who are like, we're just huge. This is it. Like, this is our favorite third party game. We like all these other things they're doing at PlayStation, but man, and if they don't have a PS5 yet or a series console and they're looking to get one, I think Xbox just bought another user into the Game Pass market, with something like this. Even if you don't know, even like if you're, it's probably going to be exclusive, but I don't know. And I don't know when it's going to happen. You're not going to take that risk. If you're that big of a Call of Duty fan, you're not going to I'm not even going to risk it. Give me the Series X.
It's like, it's in Game Pass.
Yeah. And you get it for free.
It's so hard to not see why you would do that. It's just, I don't know. And then I have to wonder, this hasn't happened yet, but I have to think in the future, some exclusive stuff might start coming for Game Pass. I don't know why that hasn't happened yet, other than them maybe just trying to get their feet wet before they do that. But
you talking like they're bringing a game
content,
exclusively.
like, well, maybe not a whole game, at least not at first. Probably in the future that will happen. But like, at least like the way PlayStation does with Call of Duty for a long time. I think it was in Modern Warfare. PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 had an exclusive mode in Modern Warfare that you just couldn't play on Xbox.
I understand. Okay.
It was like some kind of like, extra like survival mode or something. And it was so frustrating when I heard that. I was like, I love this game. It's like one of my favorite games. And I just am completely locked out of this one thing. So, I'm kind of getting on a rant here. So I'm going to go ahead and say what I've been kind of holding back up until this moment, because I've said all the positives, but honestly, I have a pretty big negative thing to say about this whole thing that really frustrates me. And it's the same thing that I talked about way back when we had our old podcast. When Disney acquired Fox, I said, this is the worst thing that could happen for entertainment. And I think it's true of this as well. I love my Xbox. I've always loved Xbox. I've always been a big fan. For a long time, I had a PlayStation. I try to be pretty platform as agnostic, even though, I own a PlayStation or an Xbox exclusively, and I don't play on PlayStation. And it's not because I don't like PlayStation. It's just because the stuff that I'm looking for a lot of times is on Xbox, and I don't feel like spending the extra money on the PlayStation. But PlayStation has incredible games. So, I try not to come off as an Xbox fanboy. I probably do sometimes, but I do want people to understand that's where I stand. And I think, this is where I can look at Xbox and say, this is wonderful. This is going to be great for me. But I also am completely split, because me as a free market advocate says this is the worst possible thing for gaming. There's nothing worse than when an industry gets combined into a few things. It's what's happening to the tech industry right now. There's only like 5 companies that run the entire tech industry, and they eat up all the innovation of all the small little companies. It's what Facebook is the epitome of it. All the VR companies right now are being eat up by Facebook because they want to create their metaverse. And this is what Xbox is doing in the gaming space. They're eating up every company. Right now, they're swallowing large tuna-sized chunks. It's not just some small like indie team like a Cuphead or something, which, they're doing that as well. But this is one of those statement moments where I just have to, voice my complaint here. I think this is terrible for gaming. And I think we're going to look back years from now and say, it was so much better in the early 2000s when games like Halo, were exclusive to Xbox, but they came from Bungie, and there were, I can't think of exclusives to PlayStation, but there was, there's a ton of games that, examples that I'm not thinking of right now, but there's all these games that just, I don't think come about when you have this conglomeration of talent under one roof. I know there can be arguments that, well, Microsoft's a great steward of games like Minecraft. They've proved that they can do that. And sure, I don't disagree with that. It's not that they're not good stewards, but it's different. It's a lot different to be a developer under the roof of a company like Microsoft that has hundreds of billions of dollars. And, you really don't have to worry about what's going to happen, about getting your paycheck. There's no fire in your belly like there is when you are a paycheck to paycheck, employee working at Starbucks, and at night you're designing your game, up in your attic or something like that, just as a silly example. But like, I think there are a lot of people like that who get a small team together. They have this idea, they work hard on it, they create something. I think Cuphead's a good example of that, where they created something incredibly special, and now it's going to be an Amazon TV show. Yeah. I really don't believe that would have ever come about if they had been a Microsoft employee. Now, maybe there's, special individuals that out there that innovate no matter what their circumstances are. But innovation, is a product of necessity. And you don't have that necessity when you are coddled by a huge company. And so, yeah, like I said, I think the conglomeration of Disney, I think the conglomeration of Microsoft, and I think PlayStation's going to follow suit and buying more and more companies. They've already started to do it a little bit, and maybe even Nintendo will follow suit with maybe some of the Japanese studios around them. I could I could see it.
That'd be the last one. If they do it, that would be one of the last ones. They'd be like,
I mean, they'd have to
they'd be
find
the
people
ones
that they want to
holding
work
the
with,
flag as they sink into the bottom with their Mario and Zelda. Like,
no,
wait,
I'm saying Nintendo buying other companies to join their team.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They have all these other third parties that are just gone, and Nintendo's like, going down with Animal Crossing.
Terrible thought.
It's a terrible thought. You know what? Luke, I agree with you. I mean, like, I've had this, like, you know, seeing it is like, in one hand celebratory, but
yeah, my first reaction is immediately, that's so awesome. I can't wait to play these games on Game Pass. And then my second reaction is what I just said.
There's an icky feeling to it, and it's. And yeah, what you said, that's my plea, man. It's like, Sony, if you're looking at this and you're like, it's time to buy Capcom or it's time to buy Square, don't do it.
Yep. Square, please. I can definitely see.
Like, there was something about having a third party on multiple consoles, regardless of what system you or your friends have. Yep. There was a joy in me when Kingdom Hearts went to Xbox, like, and being able to do that, and going to Game Pass, me being like, hey, these are my favorite games, go play them. You have an Xbox, that's great. It's easier than ever. Go play them. And, you know, being able to do that and having some games that are like that, and not having to all have the same system, or you're locked out of an experience that your friend's having because they have a different console. There's something kind of, I don't want to see that, you know, moving forward. I don't want to see a future where it's like all the Capcom and Square games are on PlayStation and all the EA and Ubisoft and all that stuff is on Xbox, and we're all kind of just, we have our own isolated experience depending on what console you have.
I think even a small example of that happening is Call of Duty, actually, if you think about it. Call of Duty began as Infinity Ward, I think, was the first company. I may be wrong about that. I think it was originally Infinity Ward. I know at least, you know, the old Modern Warfare was Infinity Ward. I don't know if the Call of Duties before that were. But so you had Call of Duty, and then it evolved into Call of Duty Modern Warfare, you know, brought to you by Infinity Ward. And, you know, I don't know my timelines very well, but I believe none of this was owned under the umbrella of Activision at that time. And if you remember, like, they were very original in the beginning, and then like these games just became more and more samey, and I think that's a product of them all coming under the same roof of Activision. If you think about it, like Activision Blizzard, when we say that, we're really talking about Treyarch, we're talking about Raven, we're talking about High Moon, we're talking about Beanox. Like, these are the companies that make up Activision. Activision isn't really its own thing. It's just a name of a conglomerate of small studios that come together to, you know, pump out these same franchises over and over again and make a ton of money. And, you know, I'm a fan of these things, but let's be honest, like, these are the same names that have been around for a while. There's not a lot of innovation going on here, and I think that's a product of all being under one umbrella.
Right.
I think that's a good example of that. And what are we doing? Let's pop open an even bigger umbrella and bring everybody underneath of it.
Right.
I don't think that's a great idea.
I agree. So there's sometimes it's a good thing to work with what you have, you know, and not just be like, let's just get it all and just have, you know, so much quantity. I'd really love for Xbox to really dig in, be like, we bought Rare years and years and years ago. Let's work with Rare and bring out Rare games instead of having all these IPs just lie dormant.
When was the last time Rare came out with a game?
Sea of
That's
Thieves.
a good example. Yeah, but before then, like, it had been quite a while. Like,
I don't even know.
There hasn't been a lot of Rare games.
And the next thing is freaking Perfect Dark, which I have no idea when that's coming out, and it's so few and far between. Can we just dig in and have some creativity and really invest in what you have? And like and I feel like that's what all of them should do, and let these other companies, these third parties, really do that themselves and come out with great games like Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, and just
really, I think you can trace this all back to when the Xbox One had their TV presentation. And then Xbox slowly got pushed into a corner throughout the generation.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people locked in exclusives with PlayStation. So Xbox, you know, they started feeling like they're in a corner. I mean, you know, if you're a boxer and you just get pushed in and in, you start to get desperate. And I think this is them showing that desperation. It's like, what can we do to fight back from this place where, honestly, you know, Xbox was at a point where it was like, you know, will Microsoft be okay with us staying on this track? Probably not. So we have to do something, you know. And so Phil came in, and I think Phil made a lot of good changes. But I think one of the big things Phil's vision included was acquisitions. And I think he didn't have, probably, you know, this is all me just being hyperbolic. I don't have interviews or insider knowledge, but
not yet.
I think
next week,
you know, from seeing from the outside, what probably happened is you had a lot of pressure from higher up, you know, maybe not as high as Satya Nadella, but maybe CTO, CFO, those kind of guys were saying, like, you know, we're looking at your numbers here, Phil, and, you know, Xbox has got to sell more consoles. You know, you got to figure out a way to do that. You know, we'll leave that up to you, but come on, buddy, like, you got to do something, or there's going to have to be some major changes. And he said, you know, the only way to really sell consoles is exclusives. These companies don't want to work with us. PlayStation has the consoles out there. How do I get exclusives? I got to start buying companies. And, you know, like you had said before, you know, how far is this going to go?
Right. Exactly. I'd say, I would say my response to him, if he was there and he was making that argument to me, I would say, don't buy the companies, buy talent, buy people who have ideas, and buy them and put them in these companies that you already have, instead of
what a lot of tech companies do.
Like 343, Halo's a great game. How about hire some new talent? Maybe you don't have to be exclusively the Halo guys. Let's see what else you can do. And let's write some good stories and some good innovative ideas for what gameplay could look like. And same thing with Rare and all these companies. You don't, even though they're not doing anything, I'm saying like they should make Banjo and Conquer and stuff like that with Rare. They don't have to do that. I mean, they did do that with Sea of Thieves. They did something new, and they can keep doing that. They didn't have to do another Perfect Zero. They see what Rare can do as a company, you know, get some people on board who can really flex the muscles. I don't know. It's just, I have a weird feeling.
It's a tough problem to overcome, though, when you are in a corner like that. And it's like, these games keep going to PlayStation. PlayStation has this good studio that's producing exclusive games for them, but then they also have these third parties that are bringing out games exclusive for them. It's like, you can see how Phil starts to feel like, I have to do this. Like, I just
have to do something.
I have to pull out, you know, the money, and I have to, you know, that's the one huge advantage Microsoft has over everyone else in the entire industry.
Deep pockets.
They have so many other businesses that support that. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And, you know, and I want to kind of say, you know, I'm not coming at this as, you know, I am a fan of PlayStation, but I'm also, you know, I have to be in the Xbox infrastructure. I see what they're doing. I've seen what they've been doing. I have to be like, okay, I got to get an Xbox Series console, I have a Series X, and I got to get the Game Pass. And so I like what they're doing. I like Xbox. I am an Xbox fan, even though maybe not on the same level as like Nintendo or Sony, but I think it's mainly because like a lot of these acquisitions that have been there recently, like I've been like, okay, Activision, like it doesn't really mean a ton for me personally. Like I like, you know, Tony Hawk, and, you know, I haven't played the new Crash Bandicoot game, so it's like some of that stuff, you know, it's cool, and I'm glad I'll be able to try it out or play it day one. That's fun, but I'm not coming at this as a, oh man, I'm not going to be able to play Call of Duty on my PlayStation 5. It's not, I'm with you, Luke. There's something weird about it that, you know, I don't mean to be too negative about it, because I don't think it's all negative, but, you know, I hope I was able to say some positive things for sure. But yeah, there is something it's
just concern, you know, it's concern for that. I just feel like our industry is heading, the industry that we're a big, huge fan of, you know, and we're involved in as fans. I just feel like it's headed down a dark path, I guess, a path of less innovation, of groupthink, of, I don't know, sameness. You know, I've seen these franchises go, and these, like I said, like Call of Duty has, like even World of Warcraft, I mean, from what I've heard, it's like these expansion packs kind of got samey after a certain point. The innovation just kind of stops. And I mean, who can blame them? You have this vision for something and then it comes out, and then 30 years down the line, it's like, okay, what do we do now? So
Yeah.
I get that, but yeah, we just don't want to be in that place. We want there to continue to be innovation. When we're now in like Call of Duty 14 or something, it's like maybe we try something new.
Yeah,
As scary as that can be, it's what has to happen.
It's almost like I'd rather sometimes these companies throw something ridiculous out and it fail. And it be a stepping stone to something that's what comes next. Like, I feel like that, seriously, I think like that's what Nintendo did when it came to the Wii U. The Wii U was a failure. But I do feel like it was a stepping stone to what they did with the Switch and, the portability and the handheld thing and the tablet. Like, and honestly, even though it failed completely and they backed away from it, I at least appreciate the fact that Xbox was like, you know what, we're going to do this whole integrated TV and this whole thing, and now they found that success with their greatest experiment, Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're just throwing money around, which I wish I'd rather than being throwing creativity into things and trying and experimenting. But I feel like they're just throwing money out there, and it's impressive. It really is. But yeah. I'd rather have, interesting failures than just like, as you say, what you fear, like they just throw money at stuff and then the potential of sameness, they are capable of greatness, like, and Halo Infinite's a great game. And Horizon's a great game, not for me because I suck, but it's obviously a great game.
Yeah. But
yeah, they have it in them. I hope they dig in. I hope that's not their answer moving forward. If they do this and somehow their console sales are still underneath the Nintendo and Sony, I hope their answer isn't just, well, which company can we buy next? That'll do it. Yeah.
It's definitely been Sorry, I was looking something up. It's hard when I want to like. Yeah. Anyways, I was trying to find something and I couldn't find it. So I was a little distracted.
Instead of finding the article, you've lost your train of thought.
I've lost everything. It's all gone. It all.
Yeah, I mean, I this would be a good place to stop for them, not for us. We got to keep going. But do this. Don't.
I hope so.
You don't want to. I feel like if you do more, I do feel like you start becoming. You start to burn your reputation a little bit with people, because like we look at us as we're adults, like for instance, like if I didn't have an Xbox and all of a sudden Microsoft bought Square, I would be buying an Xbox. I'm sorry. I can't go without it. I can't go without Square. I can do that.
And that's exactly why Phil's doing it.
We're adults.
Just said.
There's a lot of people who already made their decision. There's kids. This is the same with a lot of exclusives. I'm not trying to make like Microsoft the only one guilty of this sort of thing, but like there are a lot of like kids who are like, oh my gosh, Call of Duty is my favorite. And their family, their mom or whatever gets them a PlayStation 5 for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to the store to get an Xbox. That is their console. That's what they're going to have. They're not playing Call of Duty.
I remember those days well.
Yeah, we were there. I couldn't play Sonic. There's a lot of games
if you had bought it, it was like, well, this is my next 4 or 5 years.
Right.
What I got
over. Just living vicariously through your friends who do have that console.
Oh.
And there is something, and if you do that too much, like you can get away with some of that. And they can be like, okay, well, I'll try something else. I sell Fortnite or whatever it is for them. But if you keep going, like if you keep doing it, you start burning too many people. You get a bad rep around the gaming space,
Yeah.
If you do
it's a tough tightrope. I mean, yeah.
Right. I think even like
it's complicated. It's hard to know, like you said, how much to buy it. It's just, it's a tough thing. Like, how much do you introspect and how much do you try to innovate from within? And
mm-hmm.
You have somebody like Phil, like he's sitting on the top of this giant organization. How much say does he have as to how we innovate from within? And so for him, it's like, it's one thing to be like, look, I'm a deal maker. I'm going to go out. I'm going to find a deal. I see Activision's in trouble. It's a troubled asset. I'm going to grab this troubled asset and I'm going to turn it into, the next 10 billion a year, money stream for Xbox. And so, those are the things that change the future of, a company or even a division of a company like Xbox is. But it's harder to say, okay, we have these studios now. I'm going to work within to make them more valuable. That's a much more intangible, harder thing to do.
It really is. I can't tell you how to do it.
Shark, and go out
right.
and just basically snatch a piece of the market.
And I definitely don't blame him. I'm not saying like he's bad. You did a bad thing. No, I think it makes all the sense.
He's an incredible leader. I worry about the trend overall.
Right.
My time gaming.
I hope there's some interest after this acquisition, because this is giant. I hope there is some introspection from the company writ large as to where do we want to be? Like, what do we want to be as a company? Is our goal to buy up all the third parties? And is that our goal?
Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think so. I hope not. But
and the thing is, once you buy up a certain amount, you've really pulled all the air out for the smaller ones to even exist.
Yes.
Because there's not a support network. It's like, if you're outside of PlayStation, if you're outside of Xbox, you're outside of Nintendo, you have nothing. I mean, it's just, there's no one to go with. There's no small company next to you that you can partner up with to help you finish up, this level, to help you finish up this part of your game, or to help partner up so they can take some of their people and they can help you, create for your next sequel. There's none of that. It's like, you're either a part of Xbox or you're a part of PlayStation. And that is just the worst possible thing.
That sounds horrible. Like,
it used to be for kids who are young and don't understand. It used to be that these companies made consoles and that's it.
Yeah.
There was the console, and then there was the third parties that make games for the console. First party games were like almost unheard of.
Very
when this
rare.
all started.
Right.
Yeah. It was like Xbox is the maker of the Xbox, and that's it. Long before, like, Halo. Everyone thinks of Halo as Xbox. No, it was Bungie. It was Bungie originally. It was not. It was a console exclusive, which was also very rare. Especially for 2001. It was like, yeah, this just didn't happen. You think of all the things we think of that are synonymous with the PlayStation. Those are all third party.
Right.
A lot of them are.
Yep.
And maybe they were exclusive for the console, but they were still third party games.
Insomniac, man.
So this is completely different.
Yeah. It is like, it's bleak in a way. I don't want to like make this a thing of despair, because this could just be like us looking into something that's not even there. And it is just like, wow, this is a big acquisition and we're not going to see anything like it in decades. But, and again, Sony hasn't done this yet. I mean, they've acquired studios, but these are studios that they have smaller ones that they have pre-existing and tight-knit relationships with, like Blue Point, and even like Insomniac,
one of the biggest ones.
Insomniac is, that is probably the biggest one. Even Sucker Punch, they made mostly PlayStation exclusives before they bought them, and so it's like one of those things where it's like people are like looking at it, being like, okay, when are they buying Blue Point, or like when are they buying like all these like smaller studios. So yeah, I hope they're not like looking at this being like, well, when are we going to buy Capcom? I really don't. I really hope they're not. But
yeah,
because it's unlike what they've
Square
done before.
Would be, oh man,
that would be so upsetting for me. Like, it really would be. I love Square,
crazy.
But and like they're probably one of my favorites, and like they have like some of my favorite games of all time. I do not want that to happen. I want them to be experienced by people of all consoles, to have some of these games on the Switch and on the Xbox, and it's just kind of a great thing to have these games that are communal, that everybody can kind of talk about Guardians of the Galaxy and and a lot of these games that are third party, and then there's just like, oh, then there's like there's a handful of these big exclusives that come out every year.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it should be, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the future brings us. I mean, but then again, I am going to try to look at the bright side. I'm going to enjoy it when a lot of these games come to Game Pass at day one. Like it is cool. It is
definitely
cool. And for the people who have nothing but good feelings about this, I wouldn't want to take this away, because Javier, at the end, it's your gaming experience. You got to have fun with this stuff. I for the people who are potentially burned by this, I understand, even though I'm not in that situation. I get it, I get it. People who are exclusive to PlayStation getting potentially a big portion of their gaming experience pulled away eventually. It'll probably be a few years before we see the fruition of that, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah. I was still trying to find what I was trying to find. I'm so sorry.
Trying to find what you're trying to find.
I was just trying. What I was trying to look up is a list of like IPs that had failed, because it was what we had been talking about before. Like, this is one of the reasons. Like, this sameness, I think, is such a thing. Like, you get under the umbrella, like I said, and then you just are set upon making a game like Call of Duty, or making a game like Madden, or making a game like
this is who we
2K12 or something.
Yeah.
Or FIFA. And then I was trying to remember the game where you're basically Iron Man and you're flying around.
Anthem.
Like that I think that's like the most recent glaring example of somebody trying so hard to bring out IPO. I remember them in the E3 press conference even saying it. It's like, you guys have demanded new IP, so here we go. We're trying out new IP. Help us, support us so we can make new IP a thing. It was like, I felt for them when they said that. It was like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad they're doing this.
Right. Instead of being like, here we go.
Like a rock, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it had so much potential. And I think I played like maybe a second of like a demo or something of it. And it seemed really cool, but I don't know whether it was just too buggy, or whether the idea just wasn't fleshed out enough, because honestly, it was a game similar to Destiny, but like it had the cool like robot feel to it, and there's a lot of reasons it could have worked. And man, it's just like every time that happens, I feel like it sets future IP like that, new IP, back a little bit.
It's like, oh, great, guess we can't do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think the companies are more hesitant to do it, but also I think the fans see it as, it's kind of scary to buy a game like that. It's when it's like, well, the last time I did this, it didn't work out. It wasn't that much fun. I'll just buy the same old game. I'll just buy the new Diablo reboot, or I'll just buy the new Call of Duty, or
yeah.
Overwatch honestly is like one of the only examples of a game that's pretty new. It's only
pretty innovative,
just now getting a second game, and it was a pretty original idea. But there's not a lot of those that aren't storied franchises that are nearly 20 years old or even older. Anyways, I think we've beaten this dead horse.
And it also, though, is what I do kind of want to go back to what you said before. You said something about how, like, I wonder if like Microsoft would be okay with sales like that. That's a troubling trend, where it's like, I'm not saying you have to be totally okay with failure, but sometimes I feel like you have to allow it every now and then to be like, okay, we're taking a chance. Do it, and it not be like hellfire if it doesn't freaking work. I mean, it is kind of part of being a creative, right? And that's what it is. I know it's a business too, but it's creativity is at the forefront of it, and fun. And so I don't know. I feel like being able to experiment.
What are you talking about specifically?
Specifically, I don't even really know. But if it at the front of their mind is
You talking about just like the pressure that Phil you think was feeling because of the Xbox One's like failure?
No, not really even from Phil. I think even above Phil. Like if they like were to say
that's what I mean, the pressure that they were putting on him because of that.
Right. And maybe even some of their studios to be like, to give them more freedom to be like, okay, we're going to let you not do Forza. We're going to let you not do Halo. We're not going to let you not do these things that you do, you know, every 4 years that we expect you to do. I feel like I would hope like a lot of these studios get more chances to do that. And there's been a lot of criticism coming like that from Sony too. We've talked a little bit about that back in the day where they're like, you know, the talk of make the Last of Us remake, and we're mad at Sony Bend because Days Gone didn't do great. You know, like there's pressure like that all around, but
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's business.
Yeah, it is, but it's I don't know. I feel like
it's tough when, you know, the numbers between PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were pretty outrageous, and I've honestly been blown away by how far PlayStation got ahead. I never really understood it. I understood how people could be a little annoyed by the presentation at E3, but it was always hard for me to see why it was such a big deal in people's minds. I felt like the consoles served the same purpose for the most part throughout their life and pretty much played the games very similarly. The only thing that I thought really separated PlayStation was exclusives. It was the only reason I could really see somebody buying a PlayStation over an Xbox.
There's some people like I was talking to my cousin, like my little cousin, like, you know, he's a tween or whatever. And he has a PlayStation 4. And, you know, talking to him, trying to talk to him about games. Like, oh, great. My little cousin's into games. I'm talking to him about games. And I was like, okay, great. What do you play? And he's like, all right, I play Rocket League. Cool. I play Fortnite. I play some Call of Duty. I'm like, awesome. Okay, great. Have you played Spider-Man? Spider-Man's so good. He's like, yeah, I played a little of it. It's just, you know, it's boring playing alone. And I was just like, I was thinking in that moment, I was like, man, why does he even have a PlayStation? You know, because like, if you're not going to delve into that, then what's the point of not having like Game Pass, you know, and like being a part of that, you know? And so I don't know. There's a part at first I was like, yeah, the exclusives. There's so many people who have these PlayStations who don't play a lot of these exclusives. Like, oh, if you play God of War, if you played, you know,
and the only reason to buy those people back is to do this.
Right. You know, to be like, look, you get this.
Why this is happening.
You don't have anything. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You know,
buy your PlayStation, but you're not going to get Call of Duty.
Right. And there's people like me who are like, I love these exclusives. I love, you know, this whole third action adventure, which it's like, I feel like that's all the PlayStation's going to be after a while. It's going to be just JRPGs and action adventure games, you know, where it's just like, we have God of War, Horizon, and Ratchet and Clank, and whatever Naughty Dog's doing.
Some good things to have, though.
They're good, the great things. I love it, games. But I you know, I don't, for Sony, you know, and I would want the same thing for Microsoft. You know, it was heartening to see them buy I forget which studio, Double Fine, the people who did Psychonauts 2 and have that on Game Pass. It's like, this is something that I'd like to see more of on the Xbox, you know? And in the same way, I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of stuff I like on Sony, but man, eventually I'm
hoping Avowed is like that. That's the one I've been keeping my eye on.
Oh yeah, exactly.
They've said it's
unique.
Like the big AAA title. I'm hoping it's an action adventure RPG mythical world game.
We shouldn't want it to be like, oh, over an Xbox, that's where you got the shooters, the driving games, and the sports games, and over at PlayStation, that's where you got the JRPGs and the action adventure games.
Yeah, Xbox is definitely going to be the RPG king, though.
Yeah, not Western for sure.
JRPG, but yeah,
exactly. You want Western RPGs? There you go. You got the king studio of Western RPGs over there with Bethesda, so it's like, is that what it's going to be? I hope not. I hope it's like there's something for everyone on whichever console you choose, but I don't know. Yeah. It's like we got Deathloop, but that's just the last lingering remnants of an old Bethesda deal, which will eventually be in Game Pass. It's just, you know, I don't know. That may be where we're heading. I mean, I don't know. I guess Nintendo's always had its niche, and it's not like anyone who's into first person shooters have like, oh man, I love Switch, you know. But oh well, we'll see. Yeah, I think I think we've run the gamut of this conversation. We'll see it play out, I'm sure, as the years go on, you know, when the exclusivity starts and where what the exceptions are, exactly what that looks like. You know, you're right. I mean, I'm sure they'll want some things to not be exclusive, like whatever they do with Warzone. I'm pretty sure they'll want that to be on both consoles, but probably whatever Call of Duty proper thing they have, I imagine that will be Xbox only.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna try out that streaming on that Series S. I'm gonna let you know what that's like.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, it's even better. You know, even better than playing it natively.
So glad that's out now. That's just a game changer. Like, I'll be happy to stream my games as long as they look like that. It's like, that's huge.
Right.
Awesome.
Then again, the thing that Xbox is doing that's impressing me a lot is investing in these old games. I hope they do it more, because they have a sale going on right now where a lot of those games are super cheap. I got Sonic Unleashed for like $4, runs at 60 frames per second, which was not the case before.
They just get added to Game Pass and you can just stream them. That's like the ideal thing. You can just jump into an old game and play it whenever you want. Not have to download it. Just, I don't want to play it. You got your cloud saved.
It's very nice.
Amazing.
Absolutely. No fuss, no muss. They're doing a lot of good stuff, Xbox. I want to be mean. You're doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe these studios will be able to stay independent enough that they will have, you know, they'll have innovation inside of a large company. Maybe I'm wrong. It could easily be true. That's just my 2 cents about it. But hey, I could be completely wrong, and we could have incredible innovation coming in the next few years from all these studios that Xbox now owns. We'll see.
We shall see. Anyways, next week we'll talk about coming in 2022 things we're excited about, in case unless something
Sony bought.
Yeah, exactly.
Last week.
Oh crap. Sony bought, I don't know, whatever. But anywho, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. It's been fun.
See ya.
Recording